You're all set, Harvey.
Are they in?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Didn't see anyone. Thank you very much. So for everyone on the webinar, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Harvey Homsey with Express Employment Professionals. I have the honor of hosting our webinar today with a great panel. This is brought to you by the Franchisor Forum of IFA. So we're going to just get started. Again, I'm Harvey Homsey with Express Employment. I'm the Vice President of Franchise Systems. We are a staffing franchise internationally all over the world, predominantly in the United States. We're a full service staffing company providing solutions all abroad. Today, we have three amazing people with us that I'm going to introduce and ask them to tell you something about themselves. Let's start with Miss Shane Evans, please.
Hi there. Thank you, Harvey. Hi, everyone. I'm Shane Evans. I am the co-founder of Massage Heights. You'll see in my background, it says Heights Wellness Retreat, as we're going through a brand evolution right now for the first time in 20 years. Also co-founder of our supply chain called Summit Franchise Supply. And I have a vested interest in another franchise concept, which is an ultra premium men's grooming brand called the Gents Place. Massage Heights currently has about 130 units in operation. About $140 million in revenue. And we are expecting a massive growth year in 2025.
Thank you, ma'am. Tam Kennedy.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Tam Kennedy, a Taco John's franchisee in the great cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul. I own 6 Taco John's restaurants and have been in our system 42 years, very long time. Such an honor to have been asked to join the Franchisor Forum webinar and share a little bit of perspective as a franchisee as we go.
Thank you, ma'am. And Clint Ehlers.
Hi, everyone. My name is Clint Ehlers. I'm a franchisee for FASTSIGNS. I own a couple of units in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I've been in the system for about 20 years now.
Thank you all. So you can see we've got a great panel today. Here's what we have learned. If you would not mind going to the next slide, please. Here's what we've learned is it was at one time easy to get in the door, easy to sell, easy to make our product known and get customers to come to us. And we're seeing that that's not the way it is any longer. And it's a little bit different and things have changed. So what we want to talk about is what's changed? How have we gotten that change to work for us? And what are the best ways to bring customers back into us? This is for B2B, B2C. This is a way to hear from the experts that have turned their businesses back around and continue to bring people in. So basically, that's our overview. We're going to talk about what and how we were selling a few years ago. We're going to talk about what has changed. We'll talk about what are the different things that we're doing differently today and why we're doing that. We're going to talk a little bit about the sales culture and the differences that have changed over the past few years, and then what's remained constant because not everything has changed. And then what is the best way to grow sales in today's world? So let's get started. We're going to start with our very first question. And that is, what and how were you selling just a few years ago? Shane, would you kick us off?
Sure, I'd love to. So again, my brand is Massage Heights. And I would say a few years ago, from the beginning and until just recently, Massage Heights primarily sold massage therapy services as our core offering. We were emphasizing relaxation, pain relief, and stress management. We did it through a membership model. We've always had this awesome membership model that gave our franchisees, projected revenue and the ability to manage, profitability and all of that. But the sales approach was really centered around long-term membership commitments, showcasing the value of regular self-care for consistent well-being. And I guess how we were selling was a very service-centric pitch, if you will. So the conversations revolved around the specific benefits of massage therapy, skincare, with limited exploration of broader wellness solutions. And then also the selling really relied heavily on face-to-face interactions, focusing on building trust and loyalty with our guests. So a lot of those things still remain, but I think on the next slide, as we go forward in a bit, I can talk about how we've changed that.
Great, thank you. Tam.
Sure. So I would say I hate to look back 3 years because that was kind of the post-COVID trauma that we all kind of went through, but how it was then was really formulaic in terms of, what I do, which is direct to consumer, quick service Mexican food. Our brand is 50 plus years old, and we have a well-earned, well-deserved reputation for loyalty from our guests, folks that have been with this brand since they were in high school and college and are now in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And so you can count on that generation to understand the product, to know that our offerings in the Mexican food space are classic Mexican food offerings with a Midwest spin, I guess is the way I look at it. Everybody kind of knew what Taco John's was, and because we had the history that kind of went along with the plan, I guess, for how our product is brought to market. There have been some changes for sure. And so I would say the word that I thought of when we talked about this slide was that there was really a formula about really tapping into the emotions of our consumer, connecting those emotions to the history and love that they have for the brand. That is something that we counted on for a lot of years.
Okay, thank you. Clint.
So we are primarily a business to business business. About 98% of our business is working with other small, medium, and large size businesses on anything for their signs and graphics needs, their branding needs. We do have some B2C customers that are coming in for various small things, but those are very, very small. So I would say that our approach and what we've done in the past and what we're doing now hasn't really changed that much. We have always been very proactive in how we go about our business and reactive. We are all about building relationships with our clients and understanding our clients' business as well as they do. That allows us to, when we're making suggestions on sign and graphic needs or branding needs and things like that, that we're understanding their business as really well. It really helps us to come across as more of a partner rather than a vendor. What I tell everybody all the time is at the end of the day, we make signs, we make graphics, we install them, we do great things. But our approach to our client's business is I don't want to be their vendor. I want to be their business partner. I want to be able to think about them, or when I'm coming across a new idea, a new technique, I'm taking that to them in a very proactive manner to say, look, you guys are branding, you're building a new facility, whatever it is, here's some new ideas and new branding techniques that we can come across. It really helps us to stay at the forefront of their mind. We tell all of our customers, just make us your first phone call. If you need anything, if you think you need anything, if you have an idea, just give me a call. We're happy to sit down and brainstorm with you on how to blow that idea out. We will either do it or we'll put you in the touch with the right people we know would be the better partner for you in doing that. So it really helps us. When we get a review from our clients that say they're the best business partner that we have, that means a lot to us.
Okay, great. So those of you listening in, if you have a question, if you'll just put those questions in the Q&A chat, we will certainly have time at the end and we'll get those questions answered for you. So as we move into the meat and dig in deeper, Tamra, I want to go back to a word that you use, formulaic, or the formula. Let's talk about what has changed and how you can be successful in this new changed world. Tam, would you start us off?
I absolutely will. So for us, we're talking about, your day-to-day consumer. Three things really jump out as a change. The customers have changed, right? They have a different expectation from everybody that they do business with, coming from even 5 years ago. They want variety. They expect maybe a different level of service. They expect a tailored experience in many ways with the product that they're purchasing. I think that's a big one for us. Our sales force has changed, right? The team that we, task with selling, it's a different sales force than 3 or 5 years ago. And for some background, I have to tell you that in most restaurant businesses, most retail that are in the restaurant, you think about your team as cooks and cashiers. We don't. In my stores, we look at them as a production team and a sales team, and we train them very specifically against those kind of sets of skills. Cashiers their primary responsibility is to sell and transact in a way that represents the brand, but also gives a chance for them to woo the customer back into becoming a regular. The other thing that I would say that really has changed is The customers in terms of where they're coming from. Third-party delivery for us, a major shift. 5 years ago, to even, this year, a very, very big shift. People got very used to pulling up to the curb and getting their groceries, not going into buildings. We are just exploding in this market with the opportunity to bring the food to them. And there's a lot of learnings that have to happen, not just with the food and the product and how we market that, but I think how we train that, how we process that whole transaction. We're so used to the personal touch, and it's very hard to do when, the sales order comes in on your kitchen screens. You never know the person, you never get to know the person. The only connection you have is through how well you prepare the order. Big change for us, for sure.
Okay. Clint.
I think Tam said it pretty well. One of the biggest changes has just been the mentality of our workers. They during COVID, they got a chance to stay home and work from home and things like that. And with our systems, although our production people had to come in and our installers obviously had to come in, but our salespeople could work from home because we're cloud-based on our POS systems. But all that has definitely changed. Everybody's back in. We truly believe that our most important customers are our employees. So we're very slow to hire the right people. We've got, I have 3 open positions right now that we are plodding through, trying to find the right fit. We always feel like we're adopting someone into our family. And you spend more time with the people that you work with than you do your actual family during the waking hours, if you want to think about it, except for weekends. And so we really, truly take our time in finding the right people. When it comes to the relationship with the client, again, we treat them. I've always said that I want to focus. We tend to focus on our clients' pennies more than our own. If I'm focused on my client's business and saving them money or expanding their dollars in such a way, they're going to take care of me. They're going to take care of my business. They're not going to go anywhere else. They're going to use me for absolutely everything. And that's really has been our primary focus from day one. And we continue to do that. The customers have shifted a little bit. Their budgets, we went through a recent, economy shift, and they're getting a few more pricing. They're getting their price shopping is a little bit more than they have in the past. We have never been the cheapest option for them. We do not want to be the cheapest option for them. We want to be the highest value for them. And there's a lot of intangibles from customer service, from delivering signs, from going above and beyond, answering their emails at 9 or 10 o'clock at night when they think that you're asleep. It's a level of touch and a level of communication that we try to give, that they know that we're here for them no matter what. So we're very customer focused in that way.
Very nice. Shane.
Well, I guess I'd go back before I go forward, and that's just to sort of reiterate that Massage Heights, the model itself, is a very personal experience, as you can imagine. It's a hands-on service. We're touching bodies, we're touching faces, and so we've always had a personal relationship with our members, especially. The membership-based model allows for us to grow those relationships, get to know them, and it creates a very sticky business model. After the pandemic, during the pandemic, people became far more aware, I think, and more conscious of taking care of themselves. And mind body has become bigger than it's ever been. The acceptance of, mental health it's very well accepted today as opposed to the way it was several years ago. People are talking about it. So, what we're doing differently with Heights Wellness Retreat as we evolve is really addressing clients' broader needs. So integrating traditional hands-on services that we've always done with these innovative touchless therapies like red light therapy, cryotherapy, and halotherapy. So that's the way that we're evolving, is we're listening to what people want today. A lot of the younger generation specifically, who are they're very influential in the lives of their older family members, are looking for kind of one-stop solutions. So knowing what the customers want, knowing that they're wanting to get a number of their wellness needs taken care of in one location and a place that's trusted has been very much part of our focus as we go through this brand evolution. Also personalized wellness journeys. So just really understanding each guest's unique needs, whatever their wellness goals are, and offering customized solutions through a mix of services. So we're not bound to just massage therapy or skincare. We're able to actually address what they're really trying to accomplish and then offer additional services that will help accomplish those goals. So you might blend, cryotherapy with massage therapy with red light therapy, for instance. So there's that. Also, the demand for convenience. That is one of the things that has remained a big staple in our brand. The convenience factor. People wake up and they need a service today. They don't. What we're finding is not many of our customers are scheduling services weeks from now or even days from now. They're calling today or they're getting online to book that appointment because they woke up with a headache or they're stressed or they've got an injury, they need recovery. So providing conveniences is a really big thing. And as we continue to evolve into Heights Wellness Retreat, more access to these touchless therapies at more convenient times is part of how we're evolving. And really meeting the customers where they're at, and then also digital integration. So technology plays a big and more significant role for us than it ever did before. So from our booking systems to monitoring wellness progress, those are the things that I think are really important. Using technology to help our guests and members understand that becoming a member at Massage Heights is more than just getting a great service. It's actually helping you achieve your wellness goals. And so using technology to be able to show them that and what progress looks like for them is part of what we're doing. And then I think just health-driven outcomes. So again, more customers are educated about wellness and they're seeking measurable outcomes. So they want to know that they actually are able to improve their sleep or they're able to improve their recovery or mental clarity rather than just relaxation. So being able to monitor that and show them the value in what they're getting at Massage Heights is not just about coming in and feeling good for the moment. It has longer term effects.
Wow. Thank you very much. All right. So I'm going to ask the three of you, let's dig a little bit deeper. We started with what's changed, where are we going, what's different. I want to go a little bit deeper into what are you doing differently today and why? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but let's dig a little bit deeper into that. Clint, would you start us off?
Sure. From a customer standpoint, we're even more proactive than we have been in the past. Our clients are very busy. And so we're very proactive, not only in sales communication, but just communication in general. If I read an article that I think would benefit one of my clients, I send it to them. One of the unique things that being an owner of a small business, I deal with a lot of small business owners. So when I first meet them or when my salespeople meet them, we engage and I talk about their business before I ever talk about what they need. I always ask how business is going, sales is going, what are some issues that they have, and usually the issues that they have, I'm experiencing them myself, so we can kind of bounce a few ideas off of each other. So I'm working towards building that relationship, that friendship with my clients. And then, of course, we are very focused on, I said it earlier, the last thing that we want to, at the end of the day, we're a vendor, but I don't want to be a vendor. I want to be their partner. So everything that we do is really part of that partnership mentality and not coming across as just a vendor that they call. Granted, they call us all the time. They send us emails and we get stuff done as quickly as possible for them. But it's really more of that mentality. We have our business cards and all of our signs that says, yes, we do that. And that the idea behind that saying is, again, I said it earlier, if my clients have an idea, they think they need something, something's happening, I want them to call me first. I want them to tell me, what their issue is, what the problem is, and we'll find a solution together. Before this thing started, I shared with everybody on the panel that we just got through wrapping, it sounds morbid, but we just got through wrapping a coffin. We have a relationship with a local funeral home, and it came to us a year or so ago and asked us if we could put graphics on a coffin, and that has evolved into a service line with them that really, one, it elevates them above others. I know people are doing that across the United States, but locally, it elevates them and provides a really heartfelt touch to that family. that's going through a very hard time. But we've adapted that. We've had some, good success with that. So we're always looking at new avenues of opportunities to deliver a value to the client.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Shane.
I'd just say, we're doing a lot more, as we evolve, of course, it's all based on data. So we're using the data to figure out how we better elevate the experience. We've always been an elevated brand. But with the Heights Wellness Retreat rebrand, we're really looking at continuing to create a more premium, transformative experience, I would say, that reflects the desires of our customer base. They're looking for elevated self-care. They're looking for convenience. They're looking for, again, kind of a one-stop shop where they can go and get a number of services. And that said, expanding our service offerings. So the addition of the touchless therapies that we're offering just offer a wider range of wellness solutions. So that caters to people who might not have the time or even a preference for traditional massage therapy. So now we're expanding, the market. We have a broader audience that we can touch, helping our franchisees, make more money. Also, I would say that our conversations are shifting to more of an outcome-oriented selling. I think I kind of said that, but it's really about the focus on the results and what they want to achieve. Whether that's stress reduction or recovery or energy or what have you, rather than the service itself. So speaking to them about what they need and what they want versus here's a massage and, this is what it looks like, this is what it can do. So the conversations are really focused on what their desired outcome is. Also refining our memberships is big. Again, we are a membership-based model. 70% of our sales are membership dues. Everything else is incremental revenue. And so including these diverse services, such as the touchless therapies to create more value as part of their membership program. And this for us is really, really big because for our franchisees, these touchless therapies do not require labor. So not only are we offering our guests and members more options to enhance their experience with us, but it's a revenue driver for our franchisees that does not have the demand of labor. And so it creates far more opportunity for profitability. And then I just say cultural alignment, I think, is really important. We've always connected with our guests and members in a meaningful way, but I think just teaching that front desk personnel and the first line staff to connect with them in more meaningful ways that align with their personal journeys. So we're not just selling something, we're selling something that they need. We're understanding what their ultimate goals are, and we're doing prescriptive selling versus just selling.
Okay, thank you. Tam, anything to add?
I do actually. So as I listen to both Shane and Clint, I think about, we have in my business, we have 3 minutes to wow our customer. And the goal, of course, is to meet their expectations, hopefully exceed their expectations in those 3 minutes. But the ultimate goal is to have them want to come back, right? So I think, as we look at what we're doing differently, we're understanding the ever more important value of loyalty. And I think it is important to really recognize that guests have so many options, so many choices. And when we train our sales team, we talk about, of course, our guests have a relationship with the food, right? They chose the restaurant. They chose the restaurant for where it's at, maybe for what the menu is. But our goal is to make sure that they also can kind of match that choice with the person that they're interacting with for those that come through the drive-through or into our lobbies. And so I think trying to understand that it needs to be more experiential for every guest, whether it's in 3 minutes or 3 hours that you spend with them, it's important to the guest. And along those lines, I would say, it's super important anymore that we actually do active listening with customer feedback, right? Everybody's got a model for, fill out this form and you'll get a free something if you tell us how we did. That's one way to go about it. But following up, on Google reviews, following up with guests with both positive and less than positive results, I think actually gives us the opportunity to learn from them. We might not be able to successfully fix issues, but we certainly can learn from them. And as an operator, super important. But for those of you that are running brands, I think it's critical that you explore all of the kind of the the box that says other comments, that's the box to look at, not the ones where they give you a 4 or a 5, but it's the other comments where you can find the things that guests are actually looking for. And for me, it goes back to something that both Clint and Shane talked about, which is what the perception of value actually is. So something that we're doing differently now is, it used to be back in the day that we would not necessarily want our customers to know that something was on sale. We counted on media to attract guests with this great price and this great offer out on media. They'd come into each of the locations, and then our job is to sell them up, right? To have them pick something on the menu that maybe has a better profit margin, maybe has a bigger average ticket. Well, guests want to know what the value is right now. They want to know what do you have that maybe is on sale? And this goes to pocketbook, issues. I think it's important that we're always sensitive about that, and we recognize that there's no shame in having a value position along with, all the other levels of offerings that you have, and making sure that your guests know that the choices are theirs to pick from, rather than maybe not being so forthcoming with maybe what's on sale or something like that. And the last thing that I would say in terms of tech, we're not going to talk about tech today because Tam and tech are not friends, but we will talk about, I think, a little bit in terms of how tech aids in the way you message and market your product. It is about segmenting your message across all the different digital streams, right? Our target is 18 to 54. And if you think about that, from 18 years old to 54 years old, where they consume information about your brand is vast. It's wide and deep, right? So the message has to be different across all those digital platforms. So does the offering, right? It can say your brand, but what you might think would attract maybe a 50-year-old that, is a married couple with 2 kids is going to be different than, somebody that's in college and is just looking for something to get them by until dinner time. They just want a quick lunch. So getting your message to match your demo and then segmenting that across all marketing and media platforms, I think is a huge shift for the way we do things. And along those lines, that means training has to change as well. We have to, day in and day out, coach our sales force to understand what the guest is actually asking for when they, when we're working with them one-on-one. What is it that they want? Certainly when we have a new guest, we need to take the time to explain what the menu is. The last thing that I would say about doing something differently, and this is, coming from a brand that's been around for 50 plus years, of course, is that we're focused maybe a little less on the actual finished product and more on the ingredients. We have folks that want to choose things that are fresh. That's my brand. We make a lot of stuff from scratch, and we're very proud of that. It sets us apart. People want to know what's new and different and why a certain ingredient, whether it's, hand cut steak that we do for, some of our steak products, or we hand fry our taco shells. That's a selling point that a lot of people don't know, but it appeals to a lot of people right now. So, and a lot of that does come from gathering and really understanding, guest feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So to those listening to the webinar, in our short time together, you've learned very quickly that these 3 panelists are a lot of things. They are the boss, they're in charge, they have phenomenal staffs, they've talked about that. They also set a culture. And you can see that each 3 of them have talked about that in a certain way and created a culture within their area. So we're going to talk about, does society shape the culture, or does the culture shape society? Shane, you used the word culture and you started us off with that. So I'm going to ask you to talk about, what is the sales culture? Has it changed? And what has remained constant? So 2 different questions, but what's changed in your culture? And then what's remained the same?
Sure. I would say a guest first mindset. I think it's really always been a staple of our brand, but I feel like we have that is far more important to us than it's ever been. So the sales culture has shifted really from being kind of transactional to a more consultative approach, focusing, on what the clients really need. So the probing questions are about what they need versus what that that lifestyle consultant, our front desk personnel thinks that they need. So it's got to be very much consultative. Empowering our guests. I think, the more information, and have guests have higher expectations today. And so we have to require our teams to act as wellness guides rather than just salespeople. So they have to really understand and probe for the information and understand the benefits of each of the things that we're selling that fits the guest needs. And then I'd say, with increased competition, there's far more wellness options in the market today. And so we've got to provide that differentiation through a truly personalized service and a unique offering. That's essential. And so just working with our front desk team, working with the therapists, everybody really understanding that our goal is not just to sell something, it's to sell what that guest or that member needs to meet their goals. Constants in our business, always relationship building, building trust. We're primarily a massage business. The trust factor is huge. So we've got to provide and build that trust through exceptional service experiences. That is really the core of our sales culture, building that trust, asking probing questions, listening, understanding, creating the long-term relationships by building value in the membership is still critical for growth and sustainability. Our model is built on membership. It's what got us through COVID. It's what got us through 2008 and 2009. It's a strong business model because of the membership. And so we've got to continue to build really strong relationships with our members to grow and sustain our model. And then I would just say commitment to service excellence. So always delivering outstanding experiences has been a hallmark of Massage Heights, and that will continue to remain the same. But as we evolve with the customer needs, we see that we've got to deliver even higher levels of service, as mentioned earlier. So understanding what the guests need, what they want, and then delivering on that each and every time.
Thank you. Tam.
So I'm going to start with what's remained constant. Of course, for us, I think, and for everybody, there's only 3 ways really for us to grow sales, and we need sales to grow profit as an operator. New customers, repeat customers, or building average check, right? Those are the 3 things. And we spend more time now than ever educating our sales team, which arguably are between 16 and 22 years old. In my stores and in across quick service space, it is still important that they understand what it is that they're selling, who they're selling to, and why. And we really have started tackling it, especially in the last 18 months, the low-hanging fruit, right? So a taco is maybe what they came for, but convincing a guest to add sour cream is what makes the taco better, back to Shane's experience, but it also drives profit for us. It builds check, and it reminds them that, that little bit of an extra splurge doesn't cost very much, but it enhances what they came for to start with. We count on our brand really to, message far and wide about, who we are, maybe at kind of a branding platform level, and then what the 6 or 8 different offerings are a year. But I would also say what's a little different here too is community by community. In any brand, geographically, you're going to have differences, right? You're going to have some locations that do better in one area than maybe somebody down the road does. Same with us, understanding that even inside my 6 units, there are differences culturally in our communities that drive what coaches us to sell. We have one store, for instance, that no matter what we put up, whatever that picture is that we put up for the promo, and we put that message up on the reader board on the boulevard when you're driving by, whatever we put up, that community buys it. It's remarkable. I mean, it's just remarkable how little effort we have to put into convincing that community to buy what the national feature is. Conversely, of course, we've got one that isn't always necessarily interested in what was on TV. They're coming back for their tried or true, or they literally will come to us and say, what's different? Like, we've been coming here for 10 years. Surprise us, make us something different. And we have that flexibility as operators to work with inside of our ingredients to tailor the experience for the guests, to ask them what they're looking for. We've got, better education as operators from our brand about what our ingredients are made of and where they come from. And so we're able to offer that maybe as a little twist. It helps us stand out from our competitors. And I think the only other thing that I would say in terms of sales culture differences is that we spend more time now than ever recognizing and rewarding our sales team. We, I measure everything. Data is super important to us. We have goals. We have sales goals for our frontline team. We encourage them to sell certain ingredients on certain menu items. And to train that, they have to understand kind of what that matrix is, right? So a taco does not come with sour cream. It always tastes better with sour cream. And our world famous potato olays are amazing, but they're even better with a side of nacho cheese to dip it in. So making sure that every time a guest asks for potato olays, that our sales team reminds them that they're even better with nacho cheese is a nonstop training opportunity that maybe we used to take for granted, but we spend a lot of time culturally asking them to do that and then recognizing them for it. I think that's a big thing.
Very nice. Okay. Clint.
Yeah, I agree with everything that they just said. In fact, I'm probably going to go buy some tacos and get a massage on the way home. With us, I was just thinking about something. I had an employee that's been with me just about a year, almost at a year, and he asked me if I was going to give him a yearly review, his annual review. And I go, no, I give you a review every day. Every day I'm walking past you, I'm talking about what you're doing, how you're doing. I give you a little training here and there. If I see that you're doing something good, we talk about it. If I see you've made a mistake, we talk about that. I don't do yearly reviews. I honestly don't think I've ever given in 20 years, have I ever given a yearly review to anybody, because it's a constant engagement with my employees, trying to make sure that we're all working. I'm setting the vision, I'm setting the attitude. And it's a constant, we're all constantly kind of working towards that. I tell everybody, I said, listen, do things the way I tell you to do them, unless you have a better way of doing them. If you got a better way, I am all ears. Let's sit down, let's talk about it. Let's work it through. Let's plug it out. Let's bring other people in. I may be a smart person, but I'm no smarter than the two of us together or the three of us together, and so on and so forth. And so that's kind of has been, a little bit that I think sets us apart a little bit more. One of the things also, we were talking about differences. If you call up one of my main competitors, and I won't mention names, and you ask for a banner, they're going to ask you what size. If you call up any of my locations and you ask for a banner, my salespeople are going to ask you, what are you using it for? What's the purpose of it? What are you trying to accomplish? Because we want to understand what they're trying to use the banner for. And I can't tell you how many times a customer, they don't understand what our lingo is. They've called up and they asked for a banner, but you know what they need? They need electrical channel letters on the front of their building, or they need window graphics to talk about a new promotion that's coming out for their brand, whatever it is. So once we start to uncover and ask a lot of questions, as both Shane and Tamra were talking about, we start to uncover what they actually need. And I can't tell you how many times that has tightened our relationship with them. And I'll give you two quick examples. We had a large pharmaceutical company call us up, and they just sent us files. They needed like 20 or 30, foam board posters to go on the wall. And I was looking at the graphics with my designer, and it's all this employee kind of motivation, had a certain theme to it. So I called my customer. This is a huge, huge pharmaceutical company. And I called my customer and I said, what's this for? It was like a $1,500 order. And I said, what are you trying to accomplish? And he says, well, we got this new program and we're trying to put some signage up to get all the employees motivated about it. How many employees there? And he's like, I think it was 7,500 employees. And I go, do you think 20 posters is going to do it? You have a 500,000 square foot facility. And he's like, no, what do you think? I just don't know what to need. What I need. So I ended up going over there. We walked his entire property, looked at all the communication areas that are the most traveled, where everybody, communes and talks and has conversations. And the order ended up being like $35,000. And they rolled it out on 3 other campuses. Conversely, I had a customer that sent us plans for some light boxes, and it was like a $30,000 order. And I went out to meet with him, and we ended up saving him 10 grand because he didn't need all that. But it was just meeting him on site and talking about what the needs were and what he was trying to accomplish. So that's something that's, has shifted a little bit with us, or that we focus on. One of the other things that we're more focused on now more than ever is being obviously more proactive. And we're trying to go deeper with our clients. We're trying to increase what I call the share of wallet. We have a number of like universities, school districts, warehouses, things like that. They may have 2 or 3 different vendors that they use. And we may be getting 20% of their business when I want 80%. So we're trying to even go deeper with that, trying to find all the buyers, all the decision makers within that organization. We also try to follow the client when they leave and go to another business, or they get promoted and they move on to another location. We try to find out who replaced them, and we find out where they went to, and try to continue that relationship with them. One of the things that we've also have evolved into and we were focused on is, I don't want to be just a sign company. I consider it as like a mini branding agency. I can't tell you how many times that we've rebranded a company. We've redone their logos. We've worked on their environmental graphics when they never had anything before. That's what we respect about our clients and what they respect about us. We're very focused on their brand imaging. If Shane or Tam calls us, we're trying to understand their clients and their relationship with their locations, so that the signage that we do fits within that fits within that messaging. Shane's going through a rebrand right now. She talked about, she has that new beautiful logo behind her. There's a lot of things that go with that from a signage and graphic standpoint. And a lot of thought needs to go into that. It's more than just slapping up a pretty logo on the back of your building and when the people walk in. It has to be transformed from the color palette to the logos across everything. And we focus on that. We don't just focus on giving them a nice logo at a good cost on the back of their reception wall. I think that's all my notes. I'm good with that.
All right. Thank you. Very nice. All right. So we've done some high level what's changed. We've talked about culture. We're going to start to hone it into a couple of specific things and try and give you some certain things that will help you in today's world. So we're going to start with, what is the best way to grow sales in today's world? So Tam, would you start us off?
Sure. I'll try to keep it quick so we can get to questions too. One, of course, is to collect and interpret data. There's gold there. You need to mine for everything that you can, but then you also have to use the data. You have to share it across your entire system, your entire team. Our sales force is only as good as our production team, our cooks. So everybody needs to know what's going on in terms of, what we're trying to accomplish. The second thing is, include the voice of the guest or the client in any sales strategies as a brand. Super important to understand, today's changing consumer tastes. And I would also say, to grow sales today means to chase and figure out what is going to be happening tomorrow, right? To stay informed, look ahead, be, inventive. For us, third-party delivery and offsite sales and catering is a huge thing. You all have had sandwich platters. You all have had pizza delivered. You have all had 1 or 2 or 3 different kinds of food brought to your teams for events or for meetings, things like that. But there's nothing better than build your own taco salad bar, build your own breakfast burrito bar, making sure that we can address all the day parts like Shane was talking about, making sure that if a guest really wants something different, why not have a way to provide, a breakfast offering off-site. We just did a huge lunch cater for Amazon. I mean, it was insane and it was wonderful, but they could have gone anywhere. They have an open wallet. They could have chose anybody, and they chose a local brand to partner with to bring in lunch for everybody. And I do mean everybody. And I think, looking for things that you never thought of, places that, might want your services, but not even know they need them yet. Sort of what Clint was talking about is the way to think about growing your sales.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Clint.
A couple things. One, know your competition. I had a customer at my first location in California that owned a sign company. I mean, not a sign, he owned a fence company. And he was expanding. And whenever he went into a new market, he rented a house for a week. And he called every fence company in that market, and he had them come out and give him an estimate. And all that did was he was finding out what they drove, how they showed up, how they presented themselves, what they talked about, what do they focus on in the sale, and he used that as a training mechanism for all his employees. I thought that was brilliant. So we do competitive shop our competition to find out, we call them, how do they answer the phone? What are they saying? Can you understand them? Are they answering your questions? Are they providing you information? Are they asking questions? So know your competition and know what sets you apart from what they're doing. I think that's probably one of the main things. One of the things that I'll go back to something I did before. One of the things that drives me crazy when I go into a business is a paper sign on the front door that shows their hours. So I've done it a number of times and it's worked every time. I should do it every single time. I take a photo of that and I go back and we do a nice little vinyl sign, like store hours and vinyl lettering. I'll go back and I'll rip off their sign and I'll put the new sign on the door and I'll go hand them my business card and I'll tell them that one's for free. Give me a call and I can help you with everything else. I get calls every time I do that. It's the funniest thing. I need to do it every single time. I just don't have the time as much, but that level of looking out for a customer's business when they never asked you to sets you apart from everybody else.
Very nice. All right, Shane.
I'll make this one short. I think everything that they said was amazing, and I'll just kind of sum it up in the way that I feel about it, and the way that we feel about it at Heights. Because we're a membership-based business, we have an advantage. We have members that actually are selling for us, right? It's a super sticky model, like I said. And so for me, I think the best way to grow sales is by delivering an unforgettable experience each and every time. Bottom line, right? We could get into tactics. We can get into what we can do from a marketing perspective. We can get into all those things. And there's so many great things that you can and should do and that we do. But with us, if we can just deliver a super amazing, unforgettable experience, our members are going to do the selling for us. They're going to refer us, friends, family members, coworkers, all of those things. And that really positions us as a go-to partner in their wellness journey. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you.
Unless you want me to get into tactics, but I see the time.
So I would love for you to, but we have to watch the time. You're right. All
Yeah.
right, so we'll see when we have some time at the end to do tactics. A reminder to those of you listening and watching, if you have questions, please use the Q&A area, and we're going to be watching those and monitoring those. If we have questions, we'll also open up at the end. We're going to go into our final spiel, our final delivery. We're going to give each of you one nugget from the amazing panelists. I'm going to talk a second so that each of them can think about what their great nugget is. So what have we learned so far? Well, you got some great tacos and great food you get from Tam. After you eat, you go get a massage and whatever you want for wellness from Shane. And then we learned from Clint, you don't have to just wrap your car. You can wrap anything. So you got a lot of great things going on. So with that said, one great nugget. Clint, start us off, please.
Well, I just recently discovered, I have a lot of drive time. I have a lot of steering wheel time going back and forth between my locations. And I just came across a podcast. So my nugget is this podcast is called Founders. And there's a guy that he does book reviews of amazing business people that founded and started major businesses. And it's phenomenal. I just listen to it and you'll be hooked. So I have learned so much. The only thing I wish I could drive and take notes as I'm driving, which I can't, but it's a phenomenal podcast. I get a lot of sales information, it's just good. Just look it up, Founders.
Very good. Thank you. Tam.
Tailor your sales expectations to message against your clients' ever-changing needs. So what you need to do to find new guests and new clients is completely different than, building on and loving your loyalty guests and your long-term repeat guests. They're two unique things. They need different disciplines in place tactics to Shane's words. I think the only way to make all of that come true at the brand level is to understand it and share all of that information with your franchisees. And then as an operator, I think it's super important that everybody on your team, wherever you're operating from, every location that you have, understands all of the exact same information. Share it widely.
Very nice. All right. Shane.
My summary would be to stop selling services and start offering solutions.
Yep.
I think when you truly understand what your guest members, clients need, for us, stress relief, recovery, improved well-being, all of that, you shift from being a seller to a trusted wellness partner. So I'd just say stop selling services and start offering solutions. And then I do have a nugget for Clint. Clint, while you're listening to that podcast, I took the note down for founder. You could download an app called Notta, Notta, and let it record and summarize, take notes for you while you're
Got
driving.
it. Love it.
Very nice. Thank you.
I
I think you
also-
used that last week, didn't you, Shane, on our meeting?
I might have. No. This is totally different. Totally different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Harvey, I have one more nugget that I wrote down actually earlier.
Okay.
Time kills all deals. So if you're
Ah.
waiting for your customers to get back to you after you've given them an estimate, first of all, if you take 2, 3, 4 days to give a client in my business, giving them an estimate, they've already gotten other estimates or they're moved on. If you're waiting 3, 4, 5 days for them to call you back to check in on that estimate, it kills it. So proactive, time sensitive, and urgent sense of urgency, just what Shane just said too.
And I have to throw one more, and I'm really sorry, but this is just a motto in terms of sales for me. Good enough never is.
Oh, I like
Love
that.
that.
I like
Well,
that.
Jay Shy at the Shy Day ad agency, I used to work there, and his motto was "Good enough is not enough." So
Very
that
nice.
was a long time ago.
Okay. So Alan from IFA, thank you so much. You've already put in the founder podcast. Shane, if you would spell that nugget again, we'll get it in the chat as well.
Got it.
I think you're just going to do it, right?
Yep.
Very cool. All right, so we are about 5 minutes away from our end. We have saved a little bit of time at the end for questions and answers. There are currently, I don't believe there's any questions in the chat, but Caitlin, if we want to open up the mics and see if there's any questions, we sure can do that.
I'm not sure they can on a webinar they can talk via the video though.
Okay.
So if anybody has any questions,
Let's
please
put it in
add it
the
to
chat.
the Q&A. But nothing so far.
All right, we're going to use the last few moments. Shane, you want to talk tactics?
Sure, I can talk tactics.
Okay.
Let me go back to my notes so I have them in front of me. You don't have to listen to me ramble. All right, so tactics. Well, I think one of the things is make sure that you're actively listening to your clients' pain points. I'd say also focus on benefits, not features, would be kind of a high level thing, right? Shifting the narrative from explaining your services and showcasing how those services improve their lives. I think education is more important than ever before. We have to empower our guests and members and your clients with knowledge for us about their wellness journey and positioning us as a great partner to help them with their wellness. I think creating loyalty also through the experience is super important. We have what is called the Cloud9 experience. And the Cloud9 experience is an experience that everybody across the board knows means that we ensure that every interaction with every single guest and member makes them feel cared for and inspired to return. I think digital and social platforms, being where they are. One of the things that we're doing differently is we have never sold memberships online, and we're looking to sell memberships online. That's how people want to do business. Also recognizing that, more people today are using technology to buy even gift cards and such. So we have options for in-store, but we're creating more options for online purchases as well so that we don't lose that. Because those gift cards are going to bring more people in January, February, and March for our franchisees that can convert to memberships. Those are just some tactics off the top of my head I could think of.
Okay, thank you very much.
I've got one that I'm going to throw in there too. So we've talked a lot about kind of the positive side of sales, but sometimes sales experiences don't go exactly as we want. We promise something and it doesn't deliver quite the way that we had hoped. And so one of the things that I've really been focused on, I actually had this experience recently at the Emerging Franchisor Conference in Austin. my motto is give the guests something for now and something for later, right? So you can make them whole, you can give them their money back, you can, remake their food, whatever it is. But you also, for us, we want to go above and beyond. And while staying at the hotel, I got there, half an hour before I needed to speak. They said my room was ready. They sent me up to the room. And it wasn't cleaned, like the person's food and clothing, and I mean, everything was still in the room. And so I quickly called down and I said, I don't have time to get another room. I really need to get moving. And they found me a room, moved my stuff. Half an hour later, came and found me, gave me a $25 gift card to the bar, which was a huge win. And then, right?
I saw you there. I saw
Because
you
I had to
there.
have a
I got you.
meeting. And then later on that evening, the hospitality manager called me and didn't call me on the room phone, called me on my cell phone and said, we've just added 10,000 Marriott Bonvoy points to your account. And we have a little treat being sent to your room. And I said, if you guys don't stop, I'm moving in. Literally, this is above and beyond, right? It was a small mistake, but it's a team effort that I will not forget. They really did try to recover me as a loyal guest. So I think, that's what we all need to do because every guest matters in the end, right?
I think you said it perfectly. People don't remember the problem that you caused. They remember how you handled the problem that came up. And you've got to, we tell all our people, run to the problems. Don't run away from a problem. If there's a problem, run forward, run through it and handle it immediately because that's what the customers remember. If we shy away because we screwed up, that's all they're going to remember, that we screwed up and we shied away and didn't take care of them. So Tam, you said it perfectly. That's what you'll always remember about that experience now.
That's right.
There you go. All right. Well, let me start our ending with a few thanks. Alan and Caitlin from IFA, thank you very much for all you've done. And thank you to Lauren as well from IFA. To everyone at IFA who helped put this on, a great appreciation. They have recorded this. If you want to re-listen or share it with others, it will be available for you as well to do that. Thanks to the Franchisor Forum for helping setting this up. There are more webinars that'll be coming your way as well. And last but not least, but most, a huge thanks to Clint, to Tam, and to Shane. It's been a pleasure working with all of you as panelists and as colleagues and as friends, and I greatly appreciate the knowledge you bestowed on us. So to everyone out there, thank you very much. Look forward to another time together. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Harvey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey.
Bye, everyone.